I learned how to ski as an adult, and it didn't take me long to realize how much I loved it. However, it's a sport that's often associated with its high barrier to entry due to the expense and the limited access to skiable areas, and the physical effort and the feeling that you need someone to accompany you. But I was determined to get better at skiing and spend as much time on the mountain as possible, and when I'm determined, I get creative. And to overcome some of these barriers, I started wondering if I really needed to wait for someone else to be able to go. And I started to think of skiing on piste as being similar to many other sports that can be practiced without waiting on anyone else, like cycling or running or playing golf, for example. And as someone who had already traveled solo to a number of destinations around the world, I realized that I never let not having someone to go with me stop me from following my dreams. I started floating the idea to my family and friends that I was interested in skiing on my own and was originally met with worry for my safety, but I went anyway. And as time went on and I continued planning ski trips on my own, that worry turned into admiration and support, and it turned into many kind words from others that were inspired to do the same. And I've now skied in over 60 stations across 8 countries, and as of last season, I've officially skied over 100 days alone. And I'm actually on a solo ski trip right now in the Swiss Alps. And not only have all the experiences been personally rewarding and a lot of fun, but I've also been able to improve considerably thanks to the sheer amount of time I've spent on the mountain. So, if you're wondering how to get comfortable skiing alone and how to start planning your own solo ski trips, in this video I will go over all the tips that helped me personally. But before I get into it, it's important to note that all of the claims and recommendations made in this video are based on my own experiences skiing alone on piste and within bounds of designated ski stations and resorts. I would never recommend skiing alone off-piste or in the backcountry. So my first tip is to start small. Even if you have your heart set on someday skiing iconic destinations, you can get some valuable experience by starting small to build confidence. You could consider going to a station you've already visited and are familiar with, or taking a day trip to your nearest ski station to see how you feel. And as you get more comfortable going through the motions, the more natural and less awkward the experience will feel. My second tip is to practice traveling solo if you haven't already. I think when you get familiar with the logistics of planning a solo ski trip, you learn it's not entirely different than planning any other type of solo trip. The more comfortable you get with booking your own reservations and spending time with yourself in new places and discovering how exactly you like to travel, the more naturally it will come to you when you venture out on a solo ski trip. So, another helpful tip, if you have the opportunity to ski with others, is to practice taking the lead in navigating. You could communicate that you'd like to get more experience making decisions when planning the day or when you're out there navigating the slopes. I think it's natural to follow someone that already knows the resort or the ski station, so when you're with others it can be really easy to not pay attention to where you are or where you're going if someone else is leading. But getting familiar with navigating trail maps is one of the most important skills you can develop as a solo skier. And the more experience you get, the easier it becomes. And if you're naturally already the trail map navigator of your group, then you're already well prepared for a solo ski trip. You can also be even more prepared before you get to the mountain by studying the trail maps ahead of time. Getting familiar with the names of the lifts and gondolas and runs that you may be interested in discovering can help give you a boost of confidence while you're skiing. And having a route or a plan in mind will give you a better sense of direction in general. Another tip, if you usually ski with a group and you want to start getting a feel for skiing solo, is let's say your group wants to end the day earlier than you want. You can just instead keep going and catch up with them later. And you may have to coordinate some logistics to be able to meet back up later, but you can let them know you want to keep going and that there's no pressure for them to continue if they don't want to. I think if you communicate clearly and honestly, you can avoid any hard feelings, and you can make the most of your ski day even if the rest of your group prefers to spend their time relaxing instead. And similarly, if your group prefers to start their morning slowly when you're eager to get first tracks, you can communicate that you'll be heading out on your own and that you can meet up on the mountain whenever they're ready. I think taking initiative is admirable, and letting others in your group take their time instead of making them feel rushed should be appreciated. Something else you could consider is booking a lesson with an instructor. One of the main reasons I hear why someone doesn't ski often is because they don't have someone to go with them when they want or are able to. So if this sounds like you could book a lesson with an instructor or a guide to teach you or accompany you on the mountain. Doing so is certainly and relatively more affordable in ski destinations in Europe, but some resorts in the US will also offer group lessons that match you with other skiers that have a similar level. Booking a lesson on your own, whether it's private or with a group, will help you gain valuable experience of traveling to and arriving to the mountain solo, which on its own is an important skill building exercise. So once you've gotten a feel for it and you have the confidence to start planning your solo ski trip, and when you've chosen your destination and you're researching accommodation options, I suggest staying somewhere that's as close as possible to where you will be skiing. I think minimizing the distance that you have to travel to and from the mountain each day will generally make it a safer experience. If you can, you should avoid having to drive long distances alone in wintry conditions. If your commute to the mountain is already stressful, it may make your ski day or your trip a little less enjoyable. And if you're staying in a hotel, you could consider letting the receptionist or someone on the staff know that you're on a solo ski trip, but only if it feels appropriate and safe. Not to put pressure on anyone else to feel like they're responsible for your safety, but if you happen to establish a friendly rapport with someone on the staff while you're checking in, for example, then it could be helpful to have someone local potentially looking out for you. And on that same note, when you're out skiing on your own, you should share your location with others. I use the Slopes app, which has a number of safety features, but my favorite feature is the ability to share your location with others, even if they aren't skiing with you and even if they don't have the app downloaded. You can simply enable location sharing while you're tracking your ski day and share your link with anyone who wants to follow along as you make your way around the mountain. Every day that I head to the mountain to ski alone on piste, I share my location with my mom, even if she's halfway across the world, so that someone is aware. I've also posted a video with all of my top practical safety tips, which I will link here and in the description below for you. These tips can be generally helpful for anyone who practices a sport, but they're especially important if you head to the mountain on your own. There are tips like using rescue reflectors and avoiding skiing with headphones, and also wearing bright colors to be more visible. And there are many more detailed tips, so be sure to check that out. And the last thing I want to note, if you're planning a ski trip for yourself, is to enjoy the freedom. It's the biggest benefit of the experience. You can pick a destination on your bucket list and go at your own pace, and you can arrive and depart as early or as late as you want. The choices are all yours. I'm grateful that following my passion has led me to ski in some unforgettable destinations, all while enjoying the beauty of the mountains and getting exercise, and hopefully inspiring others to do the same. Thanks to all the experience I've gained on my solo ski trips, in just a few seasons I was able to progress enough to confidently ski La Vallée Blanche in Chamonix, France, which had long been on my bucket list. It was a big personal accomplishment that I was also able to do during a solo ski trip. I easily booked a spot to join a small group with a local guide through a company called Evolution 2. And what was nice was that there were 2 other solo skiers in my group. It always makes me happy to see others also following their dreams and not waiting for anyone else to do so. And the more time you spend on the mountain skiing solo, the more you'll notice how many others are out there doing the same. I've posted other videos about my experiences traveling and skiing, but my channel is really about following your dreams and prioritizing your hobbies and learning new things as an adult, and about not waiting for others to be able to do what you love. So if that sounds like you, then don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time.